Hey guys, Lorcan the Hedgehog here, and welcome back to another Lorcan the Hedgehog versus. This is where I pick two things and see which one's the best out of them. Now, we all know how many video games The Simpsons have on the consoles. Not, of course, not counting Simpsons Tap Out because, that's a mobile app game instead. But two other Fox shows, one made by one made by Seth MacFarlane and another game based on another Mac Groening property of his, had tried to put their turn on the video games in the PlayStation 2 and the original Xbox. For I was just talking about the PlayStation 2 because that's where I played these two games, and the two games I'm talking about are Futurama, the video game, and Family Guy, the video game. Not Family Guy Back to the Multiverse. That was later after Family Guy was brought back. And to be honest, I actually like Back to the Multiverse. I might do a comparison, like a versus with the Simpsons game with that one. But for now, I'm just going to stick with these two. So yeah, these two games were released. I think Futurama was released around when the show was cancelled, and Family Guy was, I guess, during the time when Family Guy was coming back, or it was still cancelled by that point. So yeah, these two games were going to come out even with the shows cancelled. So at least there was something for both Family Guy fans and Futurama fans. However, basically, which one is the best out of them? Let me just get to the plot and gameplay of these two games and what my honest opinion of both games are. So let's start off with Futurama, because I like Futurama more than Family Guy. Well, the shows anyway. I don't know about the games just yet, but I like the Futurama more than Family Guy. So let's just get to the plot of Futurama, the video game. The plot of the game is that Professor Farnsworth has sold Planet Express to Mom, which now she controls half of planet Earth, and she uses this again to destroy other planets in space. Pretty much fearing for their lives at first, Fry, Bender, Leela, and Farnsworth pretty much just book it. But they eventually try to stop Mom from destroying other planets. That's basically the gist of the game, really. Now, for Family Guy, the video game's plot. This one has a total of three sort of separate plots, like an act, like three subplots, three plots for one thing, like a show would do. We follow Stewie, Brian, and Peter in this game, and Stewie's plot is that his half-brother Bertram returns again, and yes, the voice actor returns again. The voice actor of Bertram returns again for the video game, and Stewie just has to try and stop Bertram from taking over the world. That's basically simple. Brian's plot is that Seabreeze, Peter Schmidt's dog, is now pregnant again, and Peter Schmidt immediately thinks it's up Brian again. So Brian now has to go out and find who is responsible for this while avoiding the guards and getting caught. And Peter's plot, after a satellite falls on him from the Stewie plot, Peter thinks that an actor, Mr. Belvedere, has kidnapped his family, and he's made every single person in Quahog into some type of bad guy that wants to stop him. So Peter pretty much has to beat up every single person in Quahog just to save his family. I guess now comparing to Mon Peter, I guess it's not as bad as some of the stuff he does to his family in that. Still a bit of a bad way for Peter, but yet again, he has been knocked with a satellite dish, so you can think he might have amnesia or something, so at least it's sort of, I don't know, you have a reason for it, but I don't know. So yeah, that's the plot of both games, and let's just head to the gameplay first, and let's head with Futurama, because these two games do have something in common, and that's that they split between different characters between the shows, but Simpsons is not even here. Family Guy has a different way of the gameplay, and Futurama has a different way as well. So let's go to Futurama first. In total in the game, you play as 4 characters from the Futurama universe, the series. You start off as playing as Fry, then Bender, then Leela, then Soyberg for one moment, then Bender again, Leela, and Fry for the last 3 levels. So let's get to Fry's gameplay first. Fry is sort of like a third-person shooter type. I would kind of say sort of similar to Ratchet and Clank kind of a way, or so any really 3D platform, 3D shooter you have played that's not like in a first-person shooter. Fry has a total of a few guns, like a pistol, a shotgun, and later on near the last level has a sniper. To be frankly honest, I do enjoy Fly in the game. There are moments here and there where it's kind of slippery because, enemies can just come out and shoot you. But compared to all the others, I feel like Fly is the most fun to play as. And that's also sad because they put more effort into Fly than the other characters. Because it sticks in the future New York. It's sad that they had to barely pick on the first few levels and abandon them by picking, well, for Bender, a desert team planet and Leela a sun planet. Which I'll get to them soon. But, yeah, it's kind of sad. And, yeah, so I do enjoy Fly. There are a few moments here and there that are kind of annoying. But there's one part where you have to, in this drone or whatever, in this, what do you call it? You're basically in this big machine, and you have to shoot the enemies, which is slow at times. It's very slow. But that's kind of like the worst for Fry. Bender, I love Bender the character. I mean, I know Fry is the main character, but Bender's like one of the most funniest characters on the show. Here in the game, well, it's funny to hear him. His gameplay isn't really as special as his character. Bender kind of plays into the Crash Bandicoot type of game, where he can spin. He can spin a lot and hits a bunch of enemies. He has the more boss fights compared to the other characters, though. Fly, I don't think he had, besides the final boss, there isn't really as much, before the final boss, I don't think there's any boss fights for Fly. Leela has the Sun God, and then Bender has the 3 sons. Now, I don't really watch much of Futurama, so I don't really know their names, but basically I know they're the mom's sons, so I know that one for sure. The problem with Bender, though, is that this game isn't really developed as a platformer, because that's it. Fly is sort of a platformer at times, but it's more shooter than platform. Bender just kind of switches and just goes to a standard platformer, which sometimes it does feel a little off at times. Especially in this case, if we're speaking about Crash Bandicoot, there's even a boulder chase part where Bender has to run away from a giant boulder, which is totally like Crash Bandicoot. So yeah, and there's not that really much to the platforming. It's just all standard, normal platforming. So yeah, Bender's not the best character, but I guess hearing Bender talk and all that is kind of worth it. But after Bender, that's when the game kind of falls apart. Then we get to Leela. By God, I hate her levels. Like, this has nothing to do with the character, of course. This is just the levels themselves. The sun part of this game is very annoying. The sun levels are the worst levels I've ever been in the game. One, you have these skeletons, which one is just like a normal stabby stab. One just acts like a suicide bomber and tries to blow you up, which takes half your health away. Which I'll get to that soon. And there's more puzzles in this one. Like, there's some points in the Sun Temple where Leela has to remember, like, do a game of Simon Says or something like that. And if she gets to, if you don't get it right, something will try to kill you, which can get very annoying. And yeah, and this is where platforming. The platforming gets more annoying than Bender's platforming. But once you get that done, you get one part where I think Leela sort of plays similar to, I don't know, any really stealth. I don't really know how to really. I don't really know how to say Leela. She's really that bad. I can't really say anything about her. But yeah, next thing is Soyberg. Yes, why not Soyberg? Soyberg kind of does the polar bear rides like from Crash Bandicoot as well, from like Bender. And he's not fun to play as. There's also an annoying gimmick of his where the story kind of has this. At one point, that the team has to head back in time to before Professor Farnsworth sells Planet Express to Mom, and with the help of this guy called Adoy, they have to go through this other part of a swamp to activate two time switches so they can go back in time. Soyberg just comes out of nowhere and has this horsey and tries to go down there in 2 minutes time. Luckily, when you get to a checkpoint, you do get those 2 minutes back. But yeah, it's very annoying from how basically if anything touches Soyberg, he dies, which can get very annoying, like very annoying. And then after when you complete Soyberg, you head back to Bender, Leela, and Fry. Oh boy, all these three the last levels are the more annoying ones. Bender, I guess, is not as bad. He does this kind of fight against other robots, which is pathetically easy at times. But it's Fry and Leela. There are these puzzles where basically you have to match a bunch of numbers, which might have a rhythm or something like that. I don't know, some type of thing. If you get the wrong number, you die, and it's all the way back. And there's no way to do it without having cheat codes, or at least looking up a guide about how to do the codes, which that's what I did. I knew how bad these things were, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna cheat. That's for the better. So yeah, and that's what the problem with Futurama's game. It just doesn't really have the Futurama feel. I mean, with Futurama, that series can work with a ton of games. If The Simpsons can have a ton of games, Futurama could have even more than The Simpsons due to having space in it. But unfortunately, this is the only console one besides Game of Thrones, the app game, and the Futurama's inclusion to Animation Throwdown. That's the only real thing Futurama really has on the games, which is sad to kind of say, really. There are a few things I do like about Futurama the game, though. The music, the guy who did the music for the series came back again to do the music, and yeah, Matt and David X. Korn were involved. Heck, Matt Groening was the game designer in this game, so you know he had something to do with it. So yeah, at least give him that. He knew that, and the Futurama humor is still there. The voice cast come back, and you still got Billy West as Fry, Farnsworth, and Soyberg. You got John Day Mel as, Bender. You got Katie Saget, who does Leela. You got voice of Mom again. You got a few characters in the show. However, another thing that kind of feels bad that is not good about this game is that the lack of Futurama characters. Hymes and Scruffy only come in for the Planet Express level. Amy's nowhere to be seen, so that's the only little thing though. Besides Nibbler is like a collectibles in this game where there's a ton of Nibblers trapped in a red cage, and if you get all of them, you get some artwork of some of these loading screens, and you get music and cutscenes. So yeah, it's not really. I don't know. It's not awful. It's not awful to some of the Simpsons games, but it's nowhere near as good. It's around the middle, really. It has its good moments at first, but slightly just goes down. But while not awful, it's just not good. So yeah, that's really my opinion of Futurama the game. Now for Family Guy, the video game. Like I said about the plot, you play as the three characters Stewie, Brian, and Peter, who all have a different style of gameplays. Stewie is kind of sort of similar to Fry, except a little harder to control at times. Stewie's more like a rail shooter than say Brian was Fry's more of a 3D open type of shooter. Stewie has a few lasers that he can shoot, and with more upgrades, he can upgrade his laser gun to more powerful attacks. He also can glide. He can double jump and use these balloons to glide to certain paths. But there is something bad about Stewie, that he's slippery at times. He's very slippery. He isn't, yeah, so he's very slippy at times where you try to jump all over the place and you might end up in some toxic or some type of danger. And then there's this one sliding part where Stewie's has to slide down in some green thing or whatever down the road. I won't explain that. But it's so hard to control, especially when you got one point where there's one point in this one of the levels where Stewie has to race another kid to the some point, and if you because of how slippery Stewie feels, you lose all the time. Now, I forgot to mention about the Futurama. Futurama has lives, and the problem with that is that when you die so many times, well, the game has there is a currency in Futurama where you collect 25 of a certain amount of objects like fries, bucks, benders, this gem, and Leela gold, and you get a life out of it. But at least with Family Guy, you have unlimited lives. Sure, it means the checkpoint system can be here and there, but at least you don't have to worry about lives. So I guess I could give it that. But yeah. So Stewie's a bit slippery at times when it comes to jumping and walking, and that slide bit. But he does also at times has this mind control thing, where he can control another character from the show to do some actions to, to get past the levels and that. So which is fun to do, and Stewie can use this he can hook onto some objects to help him go up in spots. And so yeah, he's okay to play as. I don't know. I'm just gonna compare these characters though from Futurama and Family Guy. If I had the choice between Fry's gameplay and Stewie's gameplay, I would definitely pick Fry's over Stewie's. Fry is kind of more free, and he doesn't really have as much slipperiness as Stewie does. So that's one thing. Brian, however, is kind of the more. Let me just try to explain. Brian's more of a sneaker. He has to hide and make sure no one sees him. I mean, nobody sees him. Brian has to make sure apparently he's at times. Brian will have to hide in shadows, which apparently means he's, unnoticeable. At times he has to wear some costume to fool people. However, you have to make sure that his dog instincts don't go over him. There's a red bone that tells you that Brian is going to do something that a dog would do. Like there's a bush, he's going to pee in it, or something like that. He sees a fire hydrant, he's going to pee in it. That's kind of clever, and there's also Brian's not as slippery as say Stewie and Peter are in this game. He's more, I don't know what's the word, steady. He's more steady compared to Stewie and Peter. And so yeah, I would let's just say I would compare this to Leela, because Leela sorta has that. I think I don't really know. I would pick Brian over Leela's gameplay any day. And now there's Peter. Peter's one is basically beat anyone that moves. So he's a 3D fighter game where basically if any enemy moves, beat the living hell out of it. No matter what it is, if it moves, bam, you don't have to defeat. Peter is more. I have fun at times at first playing Peter, but as more the levels went on, especially like the last two levels of his gameplay, I don't really feel like there was fun compared to the first few. Because Peter has those like punches and kicks and slides and that. There is points, however, where Peter you have to press some amount of buttons in order to defeat a certain enemy. Like there's some guys in clown costumes. And I'm going to kind of spoil the game. At one point you fight the Black Knight, which, from one of the Family Guy's episodes, which I think Will Ferrell did not return to do voice because they even made a joke about that. And there's one point and there's also Ernie the Giant Chicken. Yes, he's back in as the final boss in the game. And at times when their health goes down, you have to do this button mashing, which at times is frustrating. Especially with the Black Knight. The Black Knight was one of the worst ones I had to fight. Only the Giant Chicken at least didn't have as much problems. But the Black Knight took me a while to defeat. So yeah, Peter's not really as fun to play as. However, there are some bits I like about Family Guy is that it does its own type of version of the cutaway gags as mini games. At times, some of the characters will stop dead center and look at us and mention about cutaway. Each of the three have their different effects on the characters. If Stewie completes one, he'll get some ammo for his gun. If Brian wins, he goes invincible for a few seconds, which helps a lot of times. And Peter will gain some food that he can use for special attacks. So yeah, that's really about it for Family Guy. The tough decision now is pick which one's the better. Because I feel like both games are just equal and both of the good and bad. I mean, give Family Guy it's more of a Family Guy game than Futurama was to a Futurama series. Because Futurama the game only really does the Futurama stuff in the first few levels with Fry, and then it abandons it. At least with Family Guy's video game, it sticks with the Family Guy style of humor and characters and locations, and it's actually I don't know really compare. It's really hard because I don't like Family Guy, the show anymore. I like Futurama, but the Futurama game is not good, and the Family Guy video game on the PlayStation 2 is just okay at times. It isn't perfect, but it could have been worse. But yeah, so unfortunately, if I had to pick between Family Guy the video game or Futurama the video game, I would say this is a tough one. This really is a tough one to figure out. I hate to say it, but I go with Futurama. I don't know why. The Futurama game, I guess, just despite the lack of Futurama stuff, I just like Futurama more, and I just Family Guy says more of I have more frustrating moments with Futurama more than Family Guy. I mean, not. I mean, sorry. I more frustrating moments with Family Guy than Futurama. So I guess I'll just have to stick with Futurama in this case. But then again, that's just me. If you guys like Futurama, the video game, not as much as Family Guy's video game, fair enough. Everyone's different, so yeah, I pick Futurama, the video game, than Family Guy, the video game. So yeah, that's really my opinion for now. Speaking of Family Guy and Futurama, I will be picking these two again with another. As I mentioned, I think these next two versus fights will do something involving Futurama and Family Guy again, but with a little extra involved. So yeah, that's it for now, and I'll see you guys next time for the next versus round, or whatever my next video can be. See you guys later.